This is everything we need to make the Super Bowl recipes that Dude Dad recommended. Let's see how it turns out.
The first thing Dude Dad recommended making was street corn chip dip, and I had to buy the normal Tostita cheese dip because my husband requested that. But I said, hey, let's try this. I know it's going to make a lot. I have no idea if we're going to like it, but almost anything that you make on the smoker is going to be amazing. So as you'll see, put on some corn and cream cheese. He recommended 2 bricks of cream cheese and 3 cans of corn. I wound up doing a full family size bag of frozen corn, and I added an extra thing of corn later, and I did 2 bricks of cream cheese. However, I maybe would cut down on the cream cheese. I'm not a huge fan of cream cheese, so that's probably why, but the cream cheese is what really takes the smoke flavor well. You're going to also add 2 bricks of pepper jack cheese, about a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I just did a few spoonfuls of sour cream, and then some cut up cilantro. I tried mixing it up at this point, but it's much easier to put it into the smoker and let it do its job. And then as the cream cheese melts and the cheese melts, it's much easier to mix together, as you'll see. Remember to season it at the end. He recommended some kind of seasoning. I just added Lowry's, so whatever all-purpose seasoning that you like, go for it. Off to the smoker it goes. It starts to look nice and creamy. After about an hour, you're going to do, I think, about 250 for about 2 hours. You can kind of gauge to see how it goes best. The next thing we're going to be making is the main meal. It's essentially stuffed manicotti. We've got ground beef, ground pork. I just did a package of each. You're going to mix in a bunch of mozzarella with it. I probably could have seasoned it better now that I'm thinking about it. Season it however you would like. If I've learned anything from watching Food Network and making food for my husband, seasoning is good and always need more than you think. Then, of course, you're going to want to add more cream cheese. And as I was putting it in, my husband was like shocked at the amounts of cream cheese in both of these meals. So I decided to cut in half because, again, I don't really care for cream cheese, although so far it's proving a welcome addition. Then you're going to make sure you mix it up really well. I decided to do this one-handed because I just got my wedding ring cleaned the other day and I don't need to go back already because I decided to mix raw meat with it. Season it with salt, pepper, and we added Lowry's. Again, you can add whatever you want at this point to make sure it's seasoned the way your family cares for it. Once you mix in the seasoning and you mix everything together, then you can go ahead and grab your manicotti shells and stuff it in. My husband pointed out if you stuff it in from both sides, you want to make sure you push it in all the way so you don't get an air bubble in the middle. This is the reason why I married him, is because he thinks of all those logical things that I would never even think about doing. As you're doing it, make sure you are careful not to break the shells. It came with, I think, about 14 in a pack. Probably 7 on top, 7 on the bottom. They're carefully packaged together. Once you have stuffed all the shells, you can go ahead and wrap them all in bacon and get them ready to go on the smoker. These you can cook at about 300 for about an hour, but again, use your best judgment on this.
All right, you guys, this is the most controversial part of Dude Dad's short. He said you can do bacon wrapped Oreos on the smoker. This is how he said: half a wrap of bacon, and you put it down, the seam side down on a dryer rack, or not drying rack, cookie sheet. Cookie drying, anyway. And then you put them in the smoker, I think 275 for, oh dear, might be an hour. I'll have to double check, obviously, until the bacon's done. And this one I'm fascinated by. All of my peoples, except maybe Brielle, they're very against this. One of my sons has been known to call this a disgrace. So we'll see what happens. Got it?
When the manicotti is almost done, brush it with some barbecue sauce. It definitely was good to add flavor. Plus, I found out when I actually tasted it, I really enjoyed dipping it in barbecue sauce. My daughter even asked for it again. Overall, the smoky corn dip was my favorite. I added tomatoes and cilantro. The bacon wrapped Oreos were my favorite, or second favorite, although my husband disagreed and the kids were mixed. And then the noodle manicotti was also good, needed the barbecue sauce, and my daughter says she wanted us to have it again. Overall, it was a super fun meal. If you like this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends.